Welcome to another edition of Dish It Out. I'm Frank Benowitz, and of course this gentleman needs no introduction, but I'll give him one just nonetheless. Chef Doug Fee. And Doug, what are we going to be making today? The viewers at home can see some things. Would you like to describe?
Well, welcome to our neighborhood here at Mercer County Community College. Yeah, we have a theme today of coffee. So we started off with our entree today. We have a coffee rub filet mignon, along with a cafe au lait sauce, some creamy cheese polenta, little roasted vegetables, followed by an espresso brownie with some special whipped topping.
Well, it looks fantastic. Do I have to wait and see how this stuff is made, or can I dig in now?
Nope, we're ready to start. This is Dish It Out. Stay tuned. I think you're going to like what we have. All right, so what we have here is a whole tenderloin of beef.
Yummy.
And notice anything about it?
I notice it's not cooked yet.
That's true.
And I notice
Not
there's
very
fat and
appetizing,
silver skin on there too.
Yes, which we don't want.
Not
So we're going to
very
take that
tasty.
off. But you'll notice we shrunk them down to size here.
Oh yeah, I see that.
So the middle piece is in our magic oven, so that when we're done with this, it's going to come right out.
Is that like Houdini, or is that more Copperfield?
We're going to go with the Copperfield, a little more up to date. All right, so this fat and silver skin, we're going to want to trim off of this. And you can see we have what's called the chain attached here. And we're going to trim this up and remove all of this, because this is something, no matter how long you cook it for, it's going to stay really tough. So we want to cut that off.
So getting back to that chain, is that the Aretha Franklin favorite? That's not the chain of fools, right?
Not at all. Although what we want to do with this chain is actually a lot of times people debate about how much you want to leave on here. And if it's not going to be attached to a roast, in our case, we're going to roast the tenderloin in a piece here, we can take that off and that'll work just fine in something like a stroganoff.
Absolutely.
So as we clean this up, this is something that we actually do here at the college.
I was waiting for that shameless plug. In our Food Preparation 1 class, among other classes, we teach this.
That's right. So we show you how to work with different cuts of meat, different applications, how to cook them, different ways you want to approach cooking them.
Such as that meat fabrication class that's coming up.
That's right, brand new class. So meat, poultry, and fish fabrication. So for our more advanced students.
And for those of you at home, this is another reason to take a class with us, but obviously you can buy this already portioned out at your grocery. Of course, what will the cost differential be?
You know, for the 5 minutes it's going to take me to do this, it's not worth it, whatever it is. So now, if you're working at home and you don't know how to do this, you just don't want to cut the meat. You want to cut where the meat isn't, one of the basics. All right, so now we have a piece here, and we're just going to trim this up just a little more. And we'll finish this, and we're going to tie this off.
And of course, in this case, we're doing a roast, but if they wanted to, they could cut these into portions and have your best steak to some as far as tenderness, the filet mignon.
Exactly. So you can see here, we have a nice round of meat in here, and we're going to tie this up and get ready to throw it in the oven.
Excellent.
So I pre-cut my string here, and this is a technique that we show here, and this is actually pretty straightforward. What we want to do is we're just going to tie it, the very fancy knot, the granny knot.
Is that Boy Scout approved?
You know, I think Boy Scouts like granny, so I'm going to go with yes.
All right.
All right. So we got our first knot in place, and then what we're going to do is you just twist it, make a little loop. We're going to come underneath and pull it through.
And this would be the same for doing just about any roast, right?
Exactly. You know, we're not going to serve it with the string on it, and what this is going to do is, I don't know, what do you think this will do?
I know from Food Preparation 1, both teaching and taking it here at Mercer, that it will do two things. One, it'll allow uniformity of the cooking process, so it'll cook evenly. And second, so it's pretty. It's very important to be pretty, right?
Well, as far as our food goes, we'll go with yes.
Well, we eat first with our eyes, don't we?
Exactly.
So it'll look better and cook evenly. Sounds good.
Now, if you're not comfortable doing this with a roast, first time you're trying it, I've actually, I can remember when I went to school, I used to practice on one of those rolled containers of oatmeal.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So,
better than a person.
Without a doubt. So Okay, so we got this tied off. And depending on the length of your roast, you can determine how much you need to put it in place, how much string you need. So we'll go with that. That's going to be enough to hold it all together. So we're going to fire up our pan. And while that pan is warming up, we need to bring in our ingredients to roll this in. All right.
What's next?
Well, we have our beef tenderloin rolled and tied. What we want to do is season this up. A little kosher salt here, and as long as you're in the neighborhood, if you want to put some fresh ground pepper on here too, that would be nice.
Oh, fresh pepper. Tell me when. Tell me when.
We're good. All right, I'm just going to brush it with a little oil here, because next we want our coffee mixture to stick to everything.
Coffee and beef. Who would think it?
You know, it's a wonderful combination. So we have our ground coffee in here.
Caffeinated or decaffeinated?
You know, that could make a difference. But for our purposes here, we use decaf.
Wink,
right.
wink.
A little cinnamon and our cocoa powder.
It's a great holiday dinner.
Could be. All right, we're just going to stir it all together.
I love your spoon.
All right. Well, one less thing to wash if I use one utensil. Okay, so what we want to do is just kind of spread this around on a plate so we can actually roll it on here. And if you would turn on the fire under that pan, and we'll add a little olive oil to that, so that's going to be ready to go.
All right.
All right. And we're just going to take it.
That's a hot pan.
That's good. We're going to be doing some searing here, so get this coated nicely on here.
Is this where the smell-o-vision goes on?
All right. Now, here we go. And with our coffee, some of those coffee grounds are loose. They're going to come off. They're going to hit the oil, and they're going to turn black. You don't need to do this process for very long. You just want to get a little caramelization going, a little browning, but not too much. This does not take long.
The blackened roast.
Exactly. Probably shut the fire off under this guy here. Our carryover cooking from heat in the pan is going to keep things going. That's one thing that a lot of students don't realize when they come and work with our pans in a commercial kitchen. They're much thicker, so they hold the heat much longer.
Absolutely.
So once they start to heat up, they keep going.
Trying to get the smell over through the camera.
I don't think that's going to work.
No.
No.
It's worth a try.
We'll sear off the ends here a little bit. You still see this is pretty rare. So, all right, quiz time. What temperature do we want to cook our roast to?
We do beef typically to 145 degrees Fahrenheit, and most roasts will typically do to 155 degrees Fahrenheit. But of course, that's in theory. If you were to cook this beautiful beef tenderloin much past 135, I don't know, unless you like your steak medium well. Sanitation, textbook versus what they do in the real world. Sometimes different, right?
Well, all it depends on what you want to do in your house.
Absolutely.
Like your beef rare, you can go to 135. You're going to have some carryover cooking. For a roast, 135 would be the minimum, all right, for a steak. For a roast, it's 145. So if we slice this up into steaks, 135. For a roast, 145. So we can probably pull this at about just around 140 because it's going to continue to carry over and cook to our finished temperature of 145. So let's put this in the oven and go to our next step.